Alejandro Weinstein, the chief executive of CFR, landed just a few hours ago at the airport here in Johannesburg. He's come straight to the CNBC Africa studio, and I guess there's a sense of urgency now. The Public Investment Commission, as Alejandro has said, it is not going to support your proposal to acquire Adcock Ingram. It's been all over the weekend newspapers here in South Africa, and presumably, from what they reported, it was a surprise.
It was a surprise, but in our company, we use leadership as an expression of a developed talent. We go to the mountains, and we used to say that when the going is tough, the tough get going. And this is how we are going to try to solve this situation.
Well, it's a big opportunity. Adcock Ingram has underperformed for some time, but perhaps you can explain to us what happened at your last meeting with the Public Investment Commissioners.
We have had 3 meetings so far with the Public Investment Company, and we have explained all the details of the possible transactions in terms of the potential synergies, how our proposal would solve the problems that Adcock Ingram has today, how are we going to diversify the market, decreasing the foreign exchange risk that the company faces, how are we going to fill up the capacity. Today the facilities are running at almost 50% of their potential capacity, which are huge problems that a new management has to address and solve it in a turnaround. And we also discussed, I cannot comment on arguments that are not financials or economics, and getting into only that specific field, you have to think, what are the alternatives that today the company has? And I can only think of 4 alternatives for the company. 1, status quo, stay as it is, meaning share price will go back to the 50s rand per share. Second one, go to Actis, which is in the public domain as a potential bidder, which is a private equity, and everybody knows, a kindergarten boy, small boy knows what private equity do with the companies. They reduce cost, change management, and solve them quickly. This is a non-brainer solution. This is a non-value added solution for a company like Adcock, and a small kid can implement it. And then Bidvest, that proposed a different solution, but I don't see in the Bidvest information, at least the one that is in the public domain, I don't see how can they create value, because what this company is struggling for sales, for new ideas, for new products. How are you going to fill up the facilities? How are you going to export? How are you going to execute the sub-Saharan strategy? And you have to be a strategic player in order to execute what this company needs.
How are you hoping to increase value there or unlock value from Adcock?
Well, the way I'm just describing, from moment zero, we will bring products into South Africa to be manufactured in the new facilities of Adcock Ingram. We will fill them up, by that way decreasing the average cost of production of South Africa, and then re-export those products into emerging markets. So this is a solution that will fill the plants, increase exports for South Africa. In order to fill the plants, new jobs will be created. In order to manufacture new products, new technology should be transferred to those markets. So this is a really value proposition for the company.
Alejandro, you've obviously done your homework on this. You've come to South Africa a lot. There have been 2 recent deals that I'd like you to tell us your views on, because and how they apply here to Adcock Ingram. The first one was Walmart, its acquisition of Massmart in South Africa, where it had to jump through a lot of hoops to get that one done. And the second one was the proposed acquisition of a strategic interest by the Koreans in Telkom. Both of those transactions, you saw a more perhaps aggressive response from the government. Did they not shape your thinking in your negotiations in any way?
I don't tend to comment on what others do. I try to focus on what we do.
No, but there's a way that the government handled those 2.
But the feedback, I'll go there. The feedback we have had from government authorities is very good on our value proposition.
So you're
far.
surprised?
We have had several interviews and meetings with government officials. We've been in this process now for 8 months now. So of course we met lots of people explaining them what are our objectives, our long-term objectives to do with the company. And the feedback has been really positive. So that's why you mentioned correctly, I was surprised informing myself through the news on PIC decisions.
So how do you conclude this change in mind?
I would like to meet them in order to make a conclusion, because this is press information. I haven't met them after our last meeting face to face.
But they issued a statement to say
Yes.
that they do not. It's not just press information. It came from the public investment commissioners themselves.
I would like to understand the reasons underlying those that conclusion, because from an economical or financial point of view, I cannot see them.
Well,
So they might be of a different dimension.
the one resistance that we did get from the investment community was that this is not an all-cash offer. Why did you decide to do it that way?
Well, what we decided to do it that way because we are willing to give the opportunity to South African shareholders to have exposure to an emerging market company, to an emerging market pharmaceutical company. CFR is a growth company. You can compare it like, for example, the Indian pharma companies, or even here, Aspen. We are growth companies growing well over 20% a year in bottom line, in sales, plenty of projects, going into new markets. So, and through Adcock, they have exposure only to South Africa, 95%. So this is an opportunity to South African investors.
No, that's fair enough. But then why not give an option of taking the cash? Why not have an option of an all-cash offer on the one side, or stay invested through CFR?
This is the way it was discussed with several potential investors, and we got to the conclusion that this is the way it would be likely most by them. And this is the kind of support we have had from private investors of Adcock.
Alejandro, what will it take for you to withdraw the deal from the table? Clearly, you've come here to show how serious you are, but what would it take for you to change your mind?
If we don't have enough support for the deal, or if I personally feel that a foreign investment in the pharmaceutical area that will create jobs, increase exports, transfer technology is not welcome in this country, of course, that could change my mind.
When you say create jobs, how many jobs will you be creating through your transaction?
We have done some numbers initially. It's around in the hundreds in the first year.
And that will be because you put more throughput in the factories.
Exactly. And then we will have to, that's for a fact. And then we will have to build up, I would say, a research and development facility in which Adcock is quite weak, in order to do all the pharmacological studies of the new products. So this is something that has to be built up from scratch.
One of the criticisms that Brian Joffe from Bidvest made was that there is always transfer pricing, and as a consequence you could manipulate the figures if you like. Could you put guarantees on the table to the PIC and to South African government that that isn't going to happen?
I don't know Mr. Joffe. I respect his financial knowledge, but I think he made a mistake in his statement, because accounting 101, whatever the transfer price is, it will be consolidated within CFR, and CFR is going to be part of the South African shareholders. So it's a mistake. But anyway, there are international laws of transfer pricing for fixing them.
What percentage would you put right now? Clearly, you got on a plane when you heard the news. You came to South Africa. You really want this deal. You want this deal to happen. How high would you put it as you sit there in this actually being concluded?
100% of my effort.
Well, we wish you the best, Alejandro Weinstein, with your conversations with the public investment commissioners. When are you likely to see them?
I don't know yet. I just landed, so I came through the airport to here.
Well, we thank you for
You're welcome.
coming to CNBC first.